and welcome once again to Safari Escapes with Kelly. Today I have the lovely Hayley Plaskitt from Imvelo Safari Lodges. Hello Hales, you're looking absolutely gorgeous today. How are you and where are you?
Thanks, Carls. It's so nice to connect with you and have the opportunity to chat a little bit more about what we all love doing. I wish it was over a G&T in Hwange at a Waterhole, but I'll take this for today. I'm actually in Cape Town in the Western Cape. I've been here locked down, and it's been a long few months of lockdown here. The numbers have been really high in Cape Town, but it looks like we've just peaked or peaking, so that should be positive news, hopefully, for the whole region. But I think I'd probably still rather be in Zim right now because your numbers are so much lower than ours. So you've got a little bit more freedom there and being able to get into the bush. I hope you've been doing that a little bit.
Yeah, well, unfortunately not quite. I haven't personally, but we're very lucky here in Zim, touch wood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Hales, you and I have been chatting, obviously, leading up to this, to today. And one of the conversations we had was around the silver linings at the moment. And we decided that we wanted to highlight, the positives about the future of travel. And for us at Vayeni, and I'm sure for everyone, people still our guests still want to dream and plan and get excited and be inspired to travel. But obviously there is the big question of safety first, and also what is going to be the future of travel. People used to want to come to Africa and they do as many countries as possible and tick them off their bucket list. Whereas I think now it's going to be quite different, and people will fly into one country and, it's less of a risk. They'll travel around within that country. And each African country's got its own, obviously, beautiful, unique opportunities and adventures and everything. But today we're going to talk about them, and obviously Hwange, which is a very close place to yours and my heart, one of our favorite national parks. So yeah, Hales, what are your thoughts on this?
Absolutely, Carls. I think one of the silver linings of these unprecedented times that we're in is that travelers are asking to slow down on their holidays and just to more fully experience the moment. And Zim and Hwange specifically just ticks all the boxes that travelers are asking for post-pandemic. Not only the wide open spaces and the small intimate camps, but also well spaced out tents and all the beautiful outdoor dining opportunities. It's just perfectly set up for a post-COVID holiday. But it's not only, I think, that within Hwange, but one of the great things is, within Hwange, you'll definitely have more elephant than humans in your trip. I had a great statistic from about 2 years ago where they said Hwange National Park had 1.6 million visitors, and they've got roughly 17,000 ellies. And Hwange had 42,000 visitors and 45,000 ellies. So definitely more elephant than guests in the park. So we can definitely guarantee social distancing from humans, but probably not from the elephant, which is, I think, a great thing when you're coming on safari. So Hwange, 100% is known for its massive elephant herds. And if you combine that with the northern Botswana, definitely makes for the largest contiguous elephant population in the world. Yeah. And Hwange is a flagship within that Khaza area. But Hwange just has so much more diversity than the elephant. It's one of the greatest national parks. It's 14,500 square kilometers. So it's about the size of Belgium, with very few camps in and around Hwange. So really giving you that exclusivity, but without compromising on your game experience. But the ecology of Hwange is really quite fascinating. So the bottom 2/3 of Hwange are ecologically defined by deep Kalahari sands that support these really impressive teak forests with the Zambezi and your other hardwoods. But the magic really happens on these Ngamo plains that are famed for down that area. Really good visibility and good game viewing all year round. And the mosaic of habitats just really support the all your browsing and grazing herbivores, and then of course your carnivores that prey on them. So really great concentrations of lion, cheetah, wild dog, and you can also see both of your hyena species down there too. And then the green season is just absolutely magical down there because the ancient lake systems fill with water and you get these flooded grasslands which resemble slightly a look and feel of the delta. And they attract all the migratory birds from Eurasia and Africa. So we've had over 300 species identified just down in that Ngamo area. So a really great one for your twitchers out there. But then if you move away from that southeastern part and you move down into the southwest of the park, down into the Joseph Benini Wilderness area where there is only one concession, which is our Josie Camp, definitely wilder, off the beaten track, more for your intrepid traveler that just wants to be hundreds of kilometers away from anyone else. But they also come down there to really experience the fossil sand dunes down there and the elephant trails that run in between them, which is fascinating topography to see. And then if you move up into your northern part of Hwange, that territory is more marked by Mapani woodlands. It's got koppies and hills, and it also has a really fascinating area, which is a special designated conservation area called the Nahimba Seeps, which is close to our Nahimba camp, and it's surface water just underground, which has got a lot of minerals, and the ellies come and dig for the minerals in the water there all year round, and you get these white elephant, which are quite fascinating to photograph. And then definitely the grasslands of the Shumba areas adds to the diversity, and we've got beautiful dams up that area, Masuma, Mandavu, which make for beautiful days out, picnic lunches, wonderful day trips. And up in that northern part, you definitely get the opportunities to see more of your elusive leopard sightings, your rowan, your sable, your big herds of buffalo. So, moving around the different parts of the park offers such an amazing amount of diversity in wildlife concentrations, topography, and activities. So it's a special park, and it definitely deserves to be more fully explored.
Yeah, wow, Hales, that is an absolutely beautiful explanation of Hwange. I mean, Chish, I've never heard anyone really quite explain the whole dynamics from one side to the other. And it really is, like you said, it's so diverse and so different. And I know you guys with Imvelo, you've got 4 different properties, obviously, in Hwange, and they're all quite spread out and each very unique in their own way. And yeah, maybe you can give us a little brief overview of the camps. And a couple of highlights of, the special different experiences, because I'm sure they each have their own different activities. And tell us, what like the kind of dream itinerary that we could actually do with the whole of Hwange. Like guests came into Zim, they spent, however many days. What would you recommend, and where and how it would flow?
Absolutely. Oh, I love the dreaming. One of our favorite combinations of slow-paced travel is 10 nights in Hwange, doing 3 very different areas with 3 very different Imvelo camps. And of course, I'll caveat it saying, you can do this in a varied amount of combinations and start the other way and do it in reverse and add and tailor and personalize, which we love doing with Vayeni. According to what guests are really looking to experience. But for me, one of my favorite combinations is fly into Vic Falls and then do a quick 30-minute charter down into the northern part of Hwange to Nahimba. And honestly, that is all about now taking time to smell the elephant. So your greeting there is going to be like 50 to 200 elephant in camp. I mean, you couldn't ask for a warmer welcome to Africa. Nahimba really offers the opportunity for that perfect armchair safari. We've got an amazing waterhole riding camp, and the way the camp is built, it's set in this like half moon around the waterhole, so you can literally sit on your balcony and have these perfect waterhole views. So if you don't want to leave camp and just have the armchair safari and see what comes down to the waterhole, it's a very productive waterhole. What a wonderful way to just get into like the rhythm of the bush and start to slow down there and get this greeting of these big super herds that come into Nahimba. But I would definitely recommend walking up in that area. It's walking is just such a wholly different experience to drives, and there's no better way to really be connected to nature. And I've got to give a little shout out to our Zimbabwean guides. I mean, definitely, and I'm not being biased, I'd say the best in Africa. You know, they take 6 to 8 years to qualify. So you know the quality of your guiding is going to be exceptional, which I think is such a huge criteria when looking to book a safari. And then I would have to say you have to try a yoga safari when you're with us at Nahimba. So our lodge manager, Amy, is a qualified yoga instructor. And what a beautiful way to start the day or end the day, just in that flora and fauna and wilderness, and you know, hearing the birds call and the elephants drinking and having a yoga experience. So that's something that we offer up there. And then 100%, as I mentioned, those Nahimba Seeps are very special. I think an African sunset or sunrise just can't even adequately be described in words, but it's something that has to be savored at Nahimba, because when you go to the seeps, just the way the sun sets behind those big herds of ellies that come and dig, you just get this opportunity to capture the most amazing sunset photography with a beautiful gin and tonic in hand. So what a way to finish a day in magnificent Hwange. So I would definitely recommend 3 nights at Nahimba. It's such a charming camp, and just to slow down and get into the rhythm. And then do another quick hop on a charter down to Jozi. So I think another celebrated luxury of post-COVID world is going to be flexibility and exclusivity. And that you will have in abundance at Jozi Vayeni. So, you know, Jozi is, we talk about private, we talk about disconnecting, and I think Jozi just takes those overworked words to another level. It is really about like the luxury of exclusivity here. Time just stands still at Jozi. We offer mountain biking, so that's a really cool experiential activity that you can do in those beautiful elephant trails I mentioned. And what a wonderful way to be active on safari and experience it from a different viewpoint. And just spending hours in our look-up hide there is really special, just to see the parade of elephants that come through in the high season. I like to say Jozi and a combination with Nahimba is the greatest elephant show on the planet in the dry season. You can't ask for more than that. So if you're an elephant lover, those are the 2 camps to 100% come to in the dry season. But also great lion activity, wild dog activity, opportunities to see things like Hemsbok down there, beautiful walking. But one of our favorite things is that everything is outdoors there. So it's outdoor dining, you know, dinners under the stars, you can't beat the ambience. And then we have star beds. So you just roll those out and sleep under that canopy of stars in the evening. We've only got 5 tents at Jozi, so it's a very small, intimate camp. So if you're thinking again about exclusivity and privacy, you know, you can literally take that camp out all on its own, and it's very reasonably priced. So it's another idea for family travel post-COVID with all those reunions that I think will take place. So I recommend 4 nights of splendid isolation there. And then from there, what I recommend is a full day trip up through Hwange, watching that changing topography as you head up into the southeast to Camelthorne, to spend your last 3 nights in a bit more luxury in our safari villas with these beautiful plunge pools that are set up on the maisonette level, overlooking the canopy of trees. But that day of driving through Hwange is so rewarding, because you actually get to see so much of the conservation that's done in Hwange firsthand. So Hwange's got no natural water sources, and the operators all work to provide water for the wildlife in Hwange. And Imvelo look after 19 pumps in Hwange, which equates to probably looking after about 25% of Hwange's wildlife. So it's a huge drive and a huge push for us. And you get to meander and actually go to quite a lot of these waterholes that we look after as a big feature of that drive up to Hwange. And we call it the pump run. So it's one of our unique activities. And you get to see conservation firsthand. So we drop off diesel for the engines, we do maintenance on the pumps, we get to visit the guys that live on the front line that actually look after those pumps in the dry season. We're doing a lot of work to hybridize the pumps at the moment. So that's new innovations that's taking place, that's always ongoing work. And guests just get to really, you know, hear all the history of the park from all the knowledgeable guides that do those drives up and down, taking our guests through this beautiful landscape. And then you get to arrive in Camelthorne for your last, I'd say, 3 nights minimum, because Camelthorne is, you can do everything and you can do nothing. So we offer the most amazing array of experiential activities down in this part of the park. It's a very game-rich area in Hwange. So your guests are going to have the thrilling game drives and the walks on the scenic Ingamal Plains. But we have a very strong link with our communities in this area of the park. So the lodge is actually built on community land. And we find that one of the most unique and authentic experiences is from visiting our neighbors and actually spending time immersing with the communities there. One of our favorite activities is to get up early in the morning and meet the kids that are walking to school and do a 3-kilometer walk to school with the kids, and then enjoy an open air assembly, which is all done now with COVID protocols in place and social distancing. But what a wonderful way to just immerse. And, you know, we're finding safaris are evolving so much. So guests just don't want to eat big meals and sit on game viewing vehicles anymore. They want to be active. They want to be healthy, and they want to, you know, really just go deeper. And I think Camelthorne offers that in spades. So our community programs down there is, you know, not only immersive days with the communities, but we do so much on top of that. So our spa ladies are also hired from the community. So it's part of our empowerment programs for the communities. So I highly recommend a little bit of pampering as well while you're in the African bush, but giving back to the communities. You know, I'm all about a good massage after a long walk in the bush. And then I have to, again, give a shout out to our COBRAs, which is our Community Wildlife Protection Unit. So this is a fascinating piece of work. So it initiated in 2018 with 4 rangers down in the Makona area, which worked with the National Park Scouts, and they looked after the southern end of the park. But we've evolved this, and we've created a second base now, which is at Ingamal, which is where Camelthorne and Vayeni is. And this is now 19 scouts that we've recruited that are all purposely recruited from the surrounding areas. And they are doing some fascinating work down in that part of the park. Not only are they doing the patrols to deter the poaching in the communal lands, but they're also very much involved in fixing boreholes and fire guard maintaining, but very excitingly for me, getting into the communities and educating our neighbors on the importance of conservation work. And you've got to bear in mind, this whole stretch, which is about 120 kilometers of real human-wildlife conflict, it's the largest human-wildlife contact zone in the Kaza area. So there's a lot of work to do, and our communities really are, you know, on the cutting edge of that community and conservation efforts in the 21st century. So our COBRAs are doing some great stuff out there. They last year they collected 292 snares. I think they patrolled 4,500 kilometers, over 300 patrols. So they are making a significant difference, and especially this year, it's going to be even more important. So the Cobras are really important, and if guests are in camp and they're in base, they can actually go and spend a day with the Cobras and actually get involved in whatever activities are ongoing in that day. So community work and immersion is a massive part of your time that you would spend at Camelthorne. But there's other fun activities. So we do horse riding. What a great way to just get so close up to wildlife. You can cover more distance than walking, and you can go places that you can't get to in vehicles. And one of our favorite trails is a ride from Camelthorne to the village, and you have a little picnic brunch at the village, meet the headman, and actually proceeds of that ride go to the Nganyama village. So another way of giving back. Yeah. And then of course, it's all about, again, getting guests out of a vehicle and doing safaris differently. So I mentioned we've got a look-up hide at Josie, but we've also got another one down at Vayeni and Camelthorne. And we've taken some real learnings from guests' feedback on what do they love about hides and what they don't love about hides around Africa. And two main things always stand out. So they say, we love being in hides and we have a couple of gin and tonics, and then we need the loo and we've got nowhere to go and there's elephants everywhere. Or we love being down there, but half an hour in and we're getting claustrophobic and now again, we can't get out. So we took all of that into consideration, and our hides are 20-foot shipping underground blinds. They are spacious and airy with seats and a flush loo. So we've taken all of it into consideration, and a little bar. And I just highly recommend spending hours down there, because that's when the magic happens, when you just sit and wait and immerse yourself in what comes to the actual hides. But a great one for photographers that just want to be, literally, I call it toenail photography. Yeah, you're so close. You're in the midst of it. You can literally feel the flick of the spray of the ellies, and you can smell them, and it's wonderful. So, and it's safe. So it's also a great one for families, because we have a lot of families that come through, and how amazing, for kids to be able to get that close-up experience, but in a safe environment. So after your 3 nights at Camelthorne, where again, you've done a lot, but if you want to, you can also just relax on your plunge pool with a G&T. I think we've saved the best for last. So the eastern part of Hwange National Park has a very historic railway line, which is part of Cecil John Rhodes's empire dream of Cape to Cairo, and the railway line was the backbone. And so our kind of cherry on top experience is then transferring out of camp on our one-of-a-kind Elephant Express rail car. So it's so amazing. You can walk around, take photographs. There's a meal served on board. There's a guide. There's a flush loo. It's just a much more comfortable way than a road transfer out. And it's just a really exhilarating experience to finish off your safari before hopping in your closed aircon vehicle and heading up back to the falls, where I recommend a couple of nights in the falls. Such an iconic town. It needs to be included, I think, in any itinerary for Zim. And yeah, it's a great one to end a safari of a lifetime in Hwange. So my recommendation is, Hwange is just so diverse, amazing wildlife concentrations, and you just can't get under the skin of it in a few days. So plan to spend a little bit longer with us.
Geesh, I think that sounds like an absolute dream itinerary, and I'm sure you're making everybody pretty excited and wanting to start planning. And yeah, I mean, it sounds so perfect, especially considering the risks and the way that travel is going to change going forward. So
yes.
Yeah, fascinating.
And the great thing is, Carls, I mean, guests booking that through you, I mean, it racks for under $6,000 per person, for a 10-night itinerary. So it's also very, very good value for money. So get in touch with Vayeni, because there's also some great specials running.
Absolutely. We'll try and make all your dreams come true, hey?
100%. 100%.
Now, Hales, obviously you have touched on quite a bit of the community and the conservation work, but I was going to ask if there was anything else you wanted to highlight, or, you know, obviously, I mean, Imvelo is just, I mean, you guys touch on, you've got so many achievements with what your teams have been busy at work with and what you've been doing, and obviously trying to maintain it through this whole Corona escapade. And yeah, I mean, well, you've already touched on quite a few things, but I just thought I'd ask in case there was anything else you specifically wanted to highlight.
Yes, there is. I mean, I think for us, our whole ethos is how we partner with our communities, and, you know, they have to benefit from our tourism activities. And I think the scale and impact of what Imvelo does, you know, really is a massive part of our model for a community-based success story. And I definitely have mentioned, you know, the wildlife protection and the habitat protection that we do, but it definitely goes beyond that, into the sphere of water and food, which is a very important project that's close to my heart. I mean, last year we provided 500,000 school meals to kids, you know, 13 schools along the boundary of Hwange National Park. And this year our target is to still continue to feed 3,000 kids through this really tough year. It's evolved from school lunches to village lunches, so we're continuing to try find ways to do it even while schools are closed. And it's something that everyone can get involved in. You know, for $1 you can feed a child for a week. So it's a project that's very close to my heart, and it has such an amazing domino effect on kids' attendance in previous years at schools, and how we've seen, you know, the pass rates go up. And water is a massive one. So I've spoke about obviously the water for the wildlife, but water for people is critical, and providing clean potable water. So, you know, Imvelo has drilled over 80 boreholes in the communities. And we'll continue to maintain those this year, and probably maintain over 100 of them. But food aid is critical. I mean, last year we delivered 60 tons of food aid to the more remote communities. Butch has actually just been on a trip down to Josie, and he dropped off 286 20 kg maize meals to 286 families. So, you know, making a huge difference to those very remote parts of Hwange that don't generally get the support. So water and food is massive, but so is education. And, you know, we can't wait for obviously our school curriculums to get back up and running. But, you know, last year we had a donation of 22,000 books, which actually went to 69 schools. So I think 25,000 kids benefited from this. So education is, you know, massive on our agenda, and to continue to drive that this year in any way we can. And also health. Health is so important, and it's been something Imvelo is very well known for, is our Smile and See Safari, which is our hero dentists. They're rock stars that come out once a year. They're Italian and Spanish. There's 13, 15 of them, and they come and provide free dentistry and optometry for our communities with Imvelo. So we manage all the logistics of it, and they just come out and, you know, and get to work in the most incredible, you know, rural and basic environments. And last year we saw our 27,000th patient. So it's certainly made a massive impact, and, you know, we are pushing for still being able to run it this year. You know, it's very much still on our agenda, as long as you know, our dentists can actually get to us. But, you know, while that is, you know, we're waiting for the borders to open, we're doing a lot, you know, where we can. Fluoride applications for kids. We've, you know, just before lockdown, we did 740 fluoride applications for children, and donated 5,000 toothbrushes. So our work is extensive, and we're continuing to really safeguard Hwange and the communities this year. They need us now more than ever. And if anyone wants to get involved, they need to go to Hwange Needs You online, and all of our programs and ways of donating are there. So it's you know, it's all done through amazing donors, amazing philanthropy work, and just some very committed, passionate people on the ground that just get to work. And that's what we're continuing to keep very busy with our conservation caretaking teams on the ground at the moment.
Wow, Hales, that's incredible to hear. I mean, the impact that you guys are having, and yeah, what you actually are accomplishing and maintaining to keep going is just, it's phenomenal. It's very inspiring, and I'm sure many people will hopefully get more involved. And yeah, it's just
thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Carls, and thank you for being such big supporters of Imvelo. You know, it's we're all in this together.
Absolutely. Now, last question, Hales, on a slightly different matter, a little bit lighthearted. What is, obviously we're in the safari industry, and the bush is our game. So, what is your favorite animal and why?
Can you guess which one it is?
Oh, if I had to take a wild guess,
what I've said,
I'd say the elephant.
Absolutely, it's the elephant. I mean, for me, who doesn't love watching a little baby elephant trying to learn to use its trunk? I mean, is there anything cuter out there? It's one of my favorite things, but they are just such highly intelligent and social animals. And I love that elephant society is so matriarchal and led by strong females. You know, that's always, I've loved that connection. But they're also just such irresistible subjects to capture on camera. I mean, from those wise cinnamon-colored eyes to the worn toenails and the aged wrinkly skin. I mean, I can just sit and watch them for hours. They're so fascinating. And you know, they're the largest land animal on earth, but yet the most majestic, gentle giants. They just completely fascinate me, and we're so blessed to have these super herds in Hwange that we can, you know, that every day is just something interesting and exciting and new to watch and learn from them. Very wise animals as well, I think. So yes, they're definitely still top of my list.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, I think I agree with you. They are, I mean, I love the matriarch part of it as well.
Absolutely.
Well, Hales, thank you so much. It has been absolutely amazing chatting to you, and so inspiring, and yeah, just wonderful to hear all the knowledge and advice and stories that you have and tales about Imvelo. And yeah, I really appreciate you being here, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly, and you know, keep on with all the work you guys are doing. We appreciate you, and we can't wait to just have all of our guests come back and enjoy, you know, this amazing expansive wilderness that we get to, you know, call our home and get to protect and share, hopefully, with more people in the future. So here's to looking forward to a brighter 2021 where we can have a lot more safaris on the go.
I agree 100%. Thanks.
So take care of yourself over there in Zim, and yeah, if you do get into the bush, have a G&T for me.
I will, definitely. I'll send you a pic. Thanks.
Love it. Thank you. Thanks, Carls. Take care of yourself.
You too. Thanks everyone for watching, and yeah, see you next time. Cheers.
Bye.